Well, hello everybody, and this is a very special episode of Skipping Lunch After Dark because I never do these at lunchtime anymore. But I am really excited tonight to have the co-creators of this excellent Dark Space game that is soon to be hitting Kickstarter, and we're going to be talking about all of this pretty soon. But I'm really glad to have Than and Derek on. So, welcome, folks. Let me bring you on screen here. There they are. How are you both doing this evening?
Doing good.
Doing real good.
And I see we've got, I think Chris and Glenn are already in. So some folks who are normally part of my Discord and often in the chats are really good to have them here. Just want to really quick introduce you. And Derek, I didn't get a chance to tell you because we were worried about your stuff. You can actually edit your name if you're going to put like your title and stuff in there. And you can look like the fancy one. And if you don't feel like doing that, don't worry about it. Derek's computer decided that it didn't want to turn on. It's a fun time.
It's all right. We've got so much other technology that you'll always find some way to get online.
There's always going to be some way to get online. But anyway, I just want to introduce both of you. We have Derek White, who is also known as the
Geek Preacher.
The Geek Preacher. Does wonderful job. Follow him. YouTube. I think you got a website. Your Facebook is beautiful. And you're the creator of this wonderful thing. And you can meet Derek at many, many conventions, including the upcoming Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo, right?
Yes. Dan and I both will be there.
You're blowing his cover, man. Come on. So yes. So, and we are part of the well, actually, you're an upper tier. I mean, I'm like scraping the bottom of the barrel for the special guest list of Paige. But you're one of the folks that people actually know and recognize. So it's really kind of cool that you're going to be there for year two. We met in person last year for the first time, and that was an absolute wonderful experience. Next to you on screen, we have the wonderful Than Gibson, co-creator of
Dark Space.
And, well, what's your lower third say, man?
Oh, well, I'm also the one of the writers over at DMingTheWorld.com. Yeah.
There we go.
These days, all it is Dark Space.
It's Dark Space all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's going to be getting more so. So we're looking forward to talking a little bit about that. So Than, met you briefly at Gamehole. You guys were completely busy. We'll probably go into a little bit of that later because Derek had one of the most epic marathons of GMing that I've ever seen, which is pretty amazing. I want to get to that a little bit, but I'm looking forward to seeing you again at Paige. So hopefully we can catch up a little bit more, which would be great. And thank you both for coming on because I know you've got something big coming and we're going to talk about all of that. But first, other than the fact that you're the Geek Preacher, Derek, and then you are remembering that you're the co-creator of DMing the World, I do want to just have a couple of questions so folks who don't already know you can get to know you a little bit. And so the first one is this that I asked for everybody. We already have Mr. Blawfaces in there. Neil is saying, can't wait for page 3. He's coming down from Massachusetts. That should be great. And Glenn is saying hello to people. So it's a great time. But first off, the first question is this I asked to everybody is, this is a weird and a very wonderful hobby, but it attracts a certain demographic of human beings. We're all a little bit quirky and odd and beautiful. But it always interests me. How did both of you first get introduced and drawn into this weird and wonderful hobby?
I'll let you go first, Derek.
It was 1982, 1983. I saw some guys playing this strange fantasy game at school. I loved the artwork on the covers, but they would not let me play with them. One, I didn't have any books, and they were all a year older than me. Okay. And being from Louisiana, my family went on Mardi Gras break out to Texas. We got out for Mardi Gras, and we were walking through a mall, and I saw one of those books and begged my mother to buy it for me. She refused. But her sister-in-law was more than happy to pick it up for me because she didn't have any children at the time. And she bought me a Moldvay basic D&D book, not the box set, but just the book. That's all they had in that game store.
They had just the basic manual, not the whole...
It was the basic manual in shrink wrap on there. and I didn't know any
Wow.
better. And so those 64 pages got read at least a dozen times before we even got back home. I had no dice or anything, but as soon as I got back to school, I showed those guys that I had a book, and I guess that was the entry fee to the gaming. And I started playing. That's when I first started playing Dungeons and Dragons. Uh, I would pick up copies of Dragon magazine back in the day, and I would read about all these other games out there that none of my friends wanted to play. Games like Gamma World, games like Traveler, uh, Jaroon, all of these games. I saw all this great sci-fi stuff, all this post-apocalyptic stuff, but all my friends wanted to play was Dungeons and Dragons. And so it was many years before I ever got to play a role-playing game besides Dungeons and Dragons.
So, and for folks who think that everybody complains, there's so many 5e only people. The we only play Dungeons and Dragons things has been around for a very, 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 very long time. So, and Chris is saying, 1982, that's almost as long as he's been in the hobby, which is pretty cool. And it makes sense that they would only have the shrink wrap box or book at that point, because that's 2 years after the Mentor box came out. So the Errol Otis covers are all floating around at that point. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Dan, how about you? How'd you get sucked in?
So I actually got started with the Mincer box a little bit later, 88, I believe, to make our friend in the chat feel old. I was born in 78, so sorry. But no, 88, I had a friend who brought his brother's copy of the Mincer box to school. This was
Okay.
it's rural Tennessee, so we were still on the height of the Satanic Panic. So he brought it in his duffel bag, and we looked at it inside the duffel bag during recess, like it was contraband.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'm sure the teachers thought we were looking at something else besides D&D manuals. But anyways, that was my start with it. That was fifth grade, and then I always like to tell the story that fifth grade was basic red box D&D. Sixth grade, I went straight from that to Palladium Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So
I love that game.
Yep. But I went from simple complexity all the way up to Palladium. So it's
structural damage capacity. Yes,
yeah,
wonderful.
Yeah. Bio E for making your mutations and all the good stuff. So
I used to describe it as I used to collect, because I never had a group to play with. Mm-hmm. But we collected the TMNT books, and I had a possum that I was going to play like Nick Fury.
Yes, yeah,
Such a great game.
I think there wasn't an artwork in the book that was a possum with an eye patch.
There might have been,
or
it's been so long since I've seen it.
I think it was Wolverine. Actually, now that I think about it, but still,
there's
it was such a good book.
It's such a great one. Crawl Club here. What's up, nerds?
Hey, it's Bill.
We're talking about TMNT from back in the 1980s, so definitely nerds coming in. Actually, and TMNT was really cool when they added the After the Bomb stuff.
Yes, yeah.
And Mutants Down
It just
Under.
got better after that. Yeah, and was it Truckin' Turtles or something like that, where it was like Roadhogs? It was
Roadhogs.
Yeah.
But Mutants Down Under with the mutated crickets that everybody was riding, that was like the coolest thing ever. So, all right, we digress. We have to get through this. So, the other thing is, you are both, and Derek, I can attest to, are both as a forever GM types people. Then you have literally a site called DMing the World. So, forever DMing is pretty much in the blood here. But when you get a chance to play a character, what are the types that you lean toward?
Well, I tend to actually play bards. I know that seems like I'm the DM, and so I like to tell stories, but I do like to play the bard. I have the forever DM curse that when I play, my dice are terrible. So I tend to be in the support role more, because if you put me out front, we're all going to die. So I like to stay in the back and just tell the stories and, that sort of thing. So.
Gotcha. My dice suck no matter what. Go ahead, Derek. I'm sorry.
I I don't know, man. For me, I don't know if I have a standard I like to go to anymore. I
Okay.
mean, I used to like to just play straight fighters for a while there because I didn't want to have to worry about any rule changes. I could just go in and just beat up on something. But last character I really liked was putting together a hacker for our Dark Space game. So
Hmm.
I like characters that
Mhm.
can think their way through some things. So I guess maybe wizards in a fantasy game, hackers
Okay.
in a sci-fi game,
Hmm.
something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And disgruntled minister fighter type
In real life.
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I have played paladins before, but they always had a lot of religious trauma they were trying to get over.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So King Eric the Greatest of All always asks. This is a common question that Eric likes to ask. Who of either of you remember the original dungeon board game, the small box with the skeleton and the chains?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Eric, you
I
got
remember it.
two.
I've played it. I have a copy of the newer version of it, but I've played it. I mean, I go to Gary Con. I've even run. I've run a session of it for like on the schedule where people could come in and learn how to play dungeon.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
It's the first
Eric, there
true
you go,
dungeon
man. People
crawl.
know the game.
I mean, that's where dungeon, the board game, is where the dungeon crawl comes from.
Uh
You
huh.
literally level up as you get deeper into the game.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. Neil
That's
pointed
where
out
it
that he
originated.
Neil points out that he loves playing clerics, and Derek and I are those people that like, what is if you were actually a D&D class, what would you be? And that's like the easiest thing for us to answer.
Yeah.
But we have less mace
Well, clerics
bash
and
people in the
rogues
head.
are the same thing, right? It's an oxymoron.
Nowadays, it seems to be in a lot of respects, yes. So not
Hey,
that
I grew up in the 80s, the era of televangelists, man.
Yeah.
All the
I mean,
clerics were rogues.
I'm born 1973, so that's right my era, man.
Yeah.
So let's go. This is fun chat. We got John is in here. He met you last year at EcclesiaCon, Sharp Mountain Games. So best of luck with the book, he says. We're going to talk about that a little. And Blind Bard, Jen, who also a special guest at
Mhm.
EcclesiaCon, is playing a hacker right now in Star Wars. So thank you, everyone, for being in the chat. That is wonderful to have you here. All right. So the big question that I have, which I talked to Than a little bit, or I talked a little bit about how you met, because you first met at a Gary Con, even though
Yeah.
you're both from are you out in Nashville area? Is that right?
Yep.
Tennessee.
That's correct.
Um,
Yep.
but how did you become business partners?
Mm. That's I'll let you start that story because that's really you're the progenitor there.
Well, I was wanting to do something different. I was getting burnt out on fantasy. And as I mentioned earlier, science fiction was my first real love. I mean, I was reading science fiction in the 70s, I was reading science fiction in the 80s. I mean, before by the time I was 13, I'd read through Dune 10 times. And
And that series gets weird.
oh yeah, yeah. I hold to the sanctity of the original trilogy, and I don't go further. You know, everything else is apocrypha. No,
The
but
same way Star Wars fans deal with the sequel trilogy. No problem. Go ahead.
so I love science fiction, but as I said, I also love fantasy. Don't misunderstand me. I love
Sure.
fantasy, but we have seen a glut of fantasy over the last 20 years. And I just felt like, I needed a change, and I felt like the culture was going to shift.
Okay.
And we've seen it shift a lot in this last year or so with the proliferation of science fiction games. And so I began talking to Than, and I said, Than, I really need some rules. This wasn't about publishing a product. It was like, I need you to help me put together some rules. And Than, his work keeps him busy. So Than was like, yeah, we'll get to it, Derek. We'll get to it. And then we really wanted to base it off of something fast and quick. We didn't want any rules out there that were really heavy and crunchy because a lot of the science fiction games out there are really crunchy. We wanted something light and quick.
Okay.
And Than said, we need to base this off of Shadowdark. And I said, man, that's great. I love those rules. I use them for my own fantasy settings. Than had introduced me to Shadowdark. And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And then we got to working on it. Than was doing a little work on it. I was doing work on it. I was talking to some other folks, and the other folks kept wanting to put crunch into it. I was like, Than, man, these folks are putting some heavy crunch into it. And then I talked with Kelsey at Origins last year,
Okay.
not this year, in 2024. Kelsey, the creator of Shadowdark. And I showed her what we were doing, and she's like, I really like this. And I told Than, and Than was like, that's it, man. We're getting on it. And we started collaborating. He got into crunching some of the rules. And before you know it, Than's like, man, we can publish this. I was like,
Okay.
okay, really? Are you serious? We're going to do the thing I said I would never do, publish my own rules. And Than said, no, you're not publishing your own rules. You're publishing our game. And I was like, yeah, that's great. And I wouldn't have wanted to work with anybody else because Than is such a good friend. And it was like, boom, before I knew it, he's got great layout designs in mind. He's putting it all together. And he's like, man, we can have this out in January. And we did. So we really started crunching on it in the fall of 2024. And before we knew it, it was out in January of this year.
And it's not very thick. It's not, my autofocus is not working for some reason, but it's a very, very small book currently. So, I mean, it's a really cool story, the accident. I love the fact that Kelsey's actually part of the story because she is a phenomenal person. But other than the speed, and I have noticed this in my own life, and I'm in my 50s now. I want something that's fast. I don't want to deal with, let me flip through 18 different pages of character sheet to find out what that one special ability is. So speed is a huge draw. But what was it about? And I guess, Dan, for you, because this was really kind of your baby, what was it about the Shadowdark engine that you looked at it and went, this could be sci-fi? Because it doesn't seem like a natural transition. And yet for folks who played it, it became a natural transition. What was it about it?
It's the flexibility of it. It's because it is so streamlined. The streamline that allows for the quickness also allows for the flexibility of it. We can build a character real fast out of it, and we can make that very modular. And we've taken it and made it even more, I think, even a little bit more modular than what Shadowdark did to begin with. Just in the way that we do our alien species, rather than having 6 or 7 ancestries. We give you a table of all of 20 different species traits that you can build whatever kind of alien species you want around it. As I was building that table out, I basically, pulled up West End Star Wars and Star Trek and pretty much any property that had an alien species in it, and just went down through and just said, okay, if I wanted to build this, what trait do I need? If I need to build this, what trait do I need? And then made it generic enough where you could still say, oh, that's what that is. But then at the same time, you don't have to play that. And that quickly became one of our, we've got several core ethos statements. One of them is bring your own flavor of sci-fi. We don't want to, say this is the version of sci-fi that you have to play. We want you to play the sci-fi that you like.
So you're setting it up modularly to be
correct
a sci-fi game using this engine. So here's one of my questions then, because one of the big things of the Shadowdark engine is its mood. With, no one sees in the dark. The torch timer is always running. Are there ways that you brought that into dark space?
Yeah, there are. In fact, it's a little more versatile. We have energy cells. Obviously, you're not going to have a torch. You're going to have some type of flashlight, right? So you're going to have an energy cell for that light. So energy cells run on an hour timer. But you can also use an energy cell in your oxygen mask, in your rebreather. You can also use it in your power armor or various things. And then energy cells also if you're using laser weapons, they run your laser weapons as well. So it's now I rolled a 1.
Okay.
My gun has now run out of ammo. I need to put a new energy cell in there, but I've only got 1 left. Do I save that for my light, or do I put it in my gun?
Okay.
So it definitely brings that level of uh, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? That level of urgency
Yes.
to the table still there.
Like
You
there is that
still
sense
get
of
that.
dread because there's a
Yes.
resource management
Yeah.
that ties into like every
Yep.
aspect of your character all
And
of a sudden.
one thing that we've found in the year of running this at cons and in home games and beta testing, we've actually and this will be one of the things that we talk about in the expanded edition in the DM section or the GM section is that hour timer can be used in a lot of different ways. It does
Okay.
not have to be tied to an item. Derek and I both use our timers for things like decompression when your ship gets
Yeah.
a hole in it.
Yeah.
I've used it for when the ship gets on the outside of a black hole. You have 1 hour of real time before you get into the event horizon, and that's it. Like so,
Okay.
you can use that hour timer a lot of different ways and not just have it tied to a torch.
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
like the expansion of it. A couple
Yeah.
questions from chat. Some of them are off in the weeds somewhere, and some of them are actually like LinkedIn. First comes from King Eric, the greatest of all, which is again
Yep.
one of the greatest YouTube names of all time.
It's fantastic.
What do you guys think of mixing sci-fi with fantasy? For example, Expedition to the Barrier Peaks.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
yeah. I'm
Absolutely.
using Dark Space and Shadowdark right now to run a post-apocalyptic Thundar the Barbarian game.
Yep. Yep.
So that I have people that are I have one player that is playing an android that has a living sentient moss inside it.
Okay.
And then I have another player who is running a witch using one of the cursed scrolls from Shadowdark.
Yep.
And they work well together. It works wonderfully together. As Stan was talking about, one of the things that I liked about Shadowdark a lot was the spell failure. You can
Okay.
cast until you can't cast. You roll a 1. And so I have somebody do a spell failure, and then I'll have somebody roll a 1 and they're out of ammo. So it's really nice. It's really quick. It makes them think about that resource management you mentioned.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
And to expand on the question about sci-fi and fantasy, just real quick, one thing that we're going to be putting into the expanded version that's in the Kickstarter are what we call one-page settings. It's 12 different sub-genre settings. They're still generic. We don't have any details to them, but it's if you want to play space fantasy, if you want to play space western, if you want to play sci-fi horror, if you have Shadowdark and Dark Space together, these are the switches that you toggle on and off to get that subgenre.
So that modularity is brought in there. Cool.
Exactly.
Don't jump ahead. I want to talk more about the expanded edition a little bit. You guys are like anticipating like 14 of my questions. Like, well, this is going to be a short conversation. Yes. But also shows that I'm asking questions that you guys are interested in explaining too.
And so is the chat. Yeah.
And it also shows that we anticipated those questions.
Well, darn it, I'm not supposed to be predictable.
We're all about the same age. We all started playing about the same time. But really, one of the cool things I want to point out is I found a number of younger players that are attracted to this. Yeah. That is the key that we don't need to miss, is that when we ran it recently at a convention, we had a lot of 20 and 30 somethings. Those guys were younger. I found out their age, Stan.
Yeah.
They were in their mid 30s.
Well, Shadowdark is a industry darling, not because it's just linked by grognards. I mean, it's everywhere. Exactly. All right, King Eric has got now a controversial question.
All right.
I know what my answer is, but what's your? Are mind flayers aliens or from a different plane?
Yes.
That is my answer. Thank you. Very, very good.
Same time, Dan. Same time.
It's the answer is yes, because if they're from a different plane, they can still be aliens.
It's an alien. Yeah.
And then going back to your game, can you recharge the energy cells?
Yeah.
We don't have, I don't think we've ever put in the book itself that you can. We leave that kind of up to the GM for that.
Yeah.
I've done it in my games. Derek's done it in his games. I think that that's up to the GM. I think it depends on how how gritty are you wanting to get here. Like if you're playing a lighter sci-fi and you're kind of a little flexible with that, maybe don't worry about it. But if
Uh-huh.
you're playing a mothership alien style horror game, yeah, you probably are not going to be recharging those.
Gotcha. Because you want to keep
Yeah.
the tension
Yeah,
high.
exactly.
One of the
Yeah,
things
right.
I do in my game, I've done with my players many times. Yeah, you can recharge it back on your ship,
Yeah,
but you're
as
not on
part of
your
a
ship.
rest.
You're
You're not
exploring
you're not
another
there
ship,
right now.
and
Yeah,
that
as
other
part of
ship
as
may
part of
not
a
have the
rest.
connectors
Hmm.
you need to recharge it.
Yeah.
I like that. You're in an alien thing. They're not compatible.
Yeah.
Um, so Chris has a question there going through, and this is kind of anticipating some of the things that I'm going to ask. So
Yeah.
Shadowdark is wildly popular as designers. And isn't it nice being able to call yourself a designer?
That's kind of nice.
What do you consider Shadowdark's biggest flaw or baked-in hurdle that you had to address or overcome when you created the supplement?
Can
It's
I
not really
answer
a
that one,
supplement, though.
Fan?
It is a game. But go ahead, Derek.
Yeah, you go ahead, Derek. You can answer first. Yep.
Well, I think the biggest flaw we found that Than was a genius move on Than's part to overcome was character class, because we
Okay.
don't have character classes in the game. We have archetypes. You're clever, you're tough, you're mighty, you're a multifunction android, things of that nature. Because that was the stumbling block I was having. I was trying to convert the character classes from Shadowdark to character classes for a sci-fi game, and
Okay.
it was going against that thing that Fan and I didn't want to do. It was putting it this really narrow focus, and it would have locked us into one particular type of science fiction. And I was like,
Okay.
man, we've got to overcome this. And Fan said, I got you. And he did. He did. He came, he's
Yeah.
like, let's use archetypes for this.
Yeah.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to let you flavor your character out by using the backgrounds. And so your backgrounds now give you the flavor, both for role
Huh.
playing, but as well as a mechanical bonus by having a background. So you could be a clever pilot, you could be a
Okay.
strong pilot, you could be a tough pilot. And as Than has said many times, each one of those is going to be very, very different. And
Yeah.
I really appreciate, because that's where I had hit my roadblock in the design process, and where Than came in, and it just blew my mind away. Now,
Yeah.
it's not a new concept. Others have done it, but for something this small, this quick, this fast, I've never seen that done before. And
Yeah.
I give Than all the credit for that.
Glenn just hit on that in the chat. He says it's a bit like Everyday Heroes in D20 Modern. That is where the idea came from. The drawback with the D20 Modern version of archetypes is they just gave you the archetype. You didn't have the second component to it. You were just a smart hero, and that was
Okay.
it. So this is, you are you have an adjective and a noun. You're a clever hacker. You're a strong soldier. You're a quick sniper. Like, so now you've got the second part, and I think that really helps you define the extra piece. And that
It
also,
sounds very similar to a cipher setup.
it is a little bit like a cipher setup. Yep. There's a little bit of that mixed in. My brain pulls from a lot of different places.
Hey,
There's
which
you'll
is the
if
best
you
type of thing. Yes.
He is
if
a
yeah,
game system polyglot. Than is a game
little
system
bit,
polyglot.
a little bit. Yeah.
And that's what I
Yeah, but
love about him, because I
you'll
had been stuck in the D&D world for so long. That's why I just really love Than's extensive knowledge of such a wide variety of systems.
yeah. So,
Cool. So with this new setup, because you don't have ancestries that are static, I mean, it's all
mhm.
you're kind of rolling on the slot machine to get it or picking what you want.
Pick what you want. Yep.
And the slot machine ancestry, I think, is really kind of a cool idea, to tell you the truth. But then you also have you are this archetype with a background type thing. How does that affect the way things like advancement work? Because it is still Shadowdark. So
Yeah.
is there a traditional leveling system
Yeah.
for it, or is there another way for advancement?
Yeah, you do still level on your archetype. In that sense, archetypes do still work like a class.
Okay,
So it does still have the talent table at the bottom of every page, just like in Shadowdark does for the classes. Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah.
And how many? I've not had a chance to go through this whole thing. How many archetypes are there currently?
So there are in the current version,
Yeah,
there
just say
are
the current. Don't go
yeah,
forward. We're going to talk about that in a
yeah.
second. So
There
current
are
version.
Yeah, current version there are 7.
Okay.
There are 6 based on the core attributes, and then
Okay.
there is a 7th one that we call multifunction Android, and it allows you to make the R2D2
Oh, cool.
utility Android character. So you can make an Android that's an ancestry, but you can also make it its own archetype as well, and they are who they are. But you could have a strong archetype. In fact, Derek's hacker was an android. It was
Yeah.
I think it was a clever android hacker, if I recall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
you can
Eric
do
wants to know
both.
if it's more like Dead Space or Star Trek. And the answer is whatever you want it to be.
Correct. Yeah.
So you make the sci-fi you want to play.
Yeah. Exactly.
Um, so couple questions here just about this background, because Derek, you had mentioned rolling a 1 and spell failures and things like that, and
Mhm.
misfires and stuff. So science is not, or magic is not a thing in most science fiction, unless you go to like Star Wars, or the techno mages in Babylon 5, which are the greatest characters of all time. But anyway, I digress. So like, how do you carry over kind of that magical misfire concept? We already talked about how like you're out of ammo. Are there other ways that this kind of affects the characters during play? Are there, they're not magic using characters, but there are other ways that they're kind of have their own special abilities?
Well, so we do have what we call the triad,
Okay.
which is your insert name here for a metaphysical ability. That can be the force, that can be psionics, that can be mutant powers, however you want to flavor that. We just call it the triad because it's 3 powers. There's
Okay.
body, mind, and soul. And when
Okay.
you use one of those and you roll a 1, then you're tapped out for the day. You can't access that part of the triad anymore.
Gotcha. Do you have
Yeah.
misfire tables?
We
Like, can you have terrible things?
no, because you just lose access to that whole part of it. So a misfire on top of that felt a little too harsh.
Okay.
Right.
All
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, because if I'm a body power user and I'm doing telekinesis and I'm healing people with it, because it affects anything that's physical. So you can
Okay.
we can get into this later, but you can do power feats with it, and kind of
Gotcha.
create your own. And then suddenly taking that away from someone,
That
then
hurts. Okay.
I don't want to also put a misfire on top of that.
Is the, so like when you're using the triad, is it open ended for what type of feats you have? Like you get to describe what you're going to do?
Yeah,
Ah, so you're
yeah,
like easy D6 style magic. Like, yes, here's
yeah.
your thing. Go.
Exactly. Good call out there. Yes, Easy D6 was one that I looked at. Also, kind of an odd area to come from, but the Avatar: The Last Airbender role playing game that
Yeah,
was
because
sort of
there's no rules for bending.
there's no rules for bending. It's you're a firebender. What do you do with fire? And
Yes.
that's what I wanted to do with this. Would be like you're a mental character. What do you do with your mental powers? I mean, no one's going to tell Charles Xavier that he can only read minds. Like he's going to
Right.
find some way out of that, right? So yeah, same idea.
He can freeze everyone in an
In
entire
a
museum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, right. So
That's cool. I love that that it's completely open ended.
yeah,
Although that
yeah.
takes about 40 pages out of your book because you don't have set spells, but it's also really cool.
We're adding a few examples in the expanded version.
Shh, won't do that in the future. Shh, hush. So you have this archetype and background, and Derek, you already talked about bringing in a witch from one of the cursed scrolls and putting them
Mhm,
together.
mhm.
So how do you see that working together when it's happened? Um, like what's the difference in power level? Does it really kind of mesh? Like what's
It
are there any
meshes a
gears that grind?
lot easier than you would think because one of the things is you still use, so if you want to mix, if you want to put the peanut butter in the chocolate and you want to mix Shadow Dark with sci-fi with our dark space rules,
Uh-huh.
you still have the spell failure from
Shadowdark.
Shadow Dark.
Yeah.
So if you roll a 1 on and you get a spell misfire, you're going to still use that spell misfire table because
Yeah.
spells are really powerful in Shadow Dark.
Yeah.
But a triad user just loses access to that one thing. You don't want to give them that, but because the triad, when it works, can be very powerful. So, and a blaster rifle is going to do a heck of a lot. It can do just as much damage as maybe a magic missile or a fireball. And
Okay.
you're going to have ammo until you roll a 1. So,
Mm-hmm.
in my experience in playtesting this with my group, for those people that want to put both of them together, it does balance out really well so that my magical Shadow Dark characters are not outclassing my sci-fi. My players who are running magical characters are not outclassing my sci-fi characters or vice versa.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
it
We
works
had
really well
we
together.
had to be very conscious of that when we were talking about how much damage weapons did and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And we've had some people look at our damages and say, "Oh, come on! Like a heavy blaster rifle would totally do more damage than that." But when you think about it in a larger picture about how does that fit with Magic and Shadow Dark, if we are going to allow you to bring both over, we have to be very conscious about that. I still go back and say, well, how much if I'm putting missiles in, how much does that do compared to a fireball? Just in case someone
yeah,
wants to throw a fireball at a ship, like
Gotcha.
we need to be aware of that sort of thing. Yeah,
And that was always kind of the struggle even with Gamma World because you could
yeah,
pull over your AD&D characters into
yeah,
Gamma World,
yeah.
but hey, I got my longsword +3. Fine, I got a blaster rifle that does 10d6 of damage. Have fun.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Or rifts, right? We were like, but at the very beginning we were talking about palladium, right? And
yeah.
then suddenly you have to do SDC and MDC, and it
Mm-hmm.
it starts to get kind of. And I didn't want that. I wanted everything to kind of
To
to
get a
be very
little bit
balanced.
to
Yeah.
be balanced. It's a really neat idea. Have you ever deliberately designed a fish out of water scenario and either brought a dark base character to a shadow dark adventure or vice versa and had people run it at a con like on
We've
purpose?
not at a con. No, I think that that's something that we've kind of toyed around with in our home games a little bit,
Okay.
but no, not at a con. I think we will probably get there. We'll probably and surely at some point either us or someone else will do a barrier peaks or something where you've suddenly got the things from the other vice versa. I would love to do I've got this grand idea for and maybe we'll do it as part of a stretch goal at some point or something, but where you've got a one page adventure that
Uh-huh.
one side of it is a fantasy uh, encounter, and there's a portal and you walk through it and you flip the card over, and the other side is a sci-fi.
Okay.
I think that would be really cool. I just haven't written it yet, but I've got the ideas for it. Yeah.
yeah,
I like that. Really cool.
Yeah.
All
yeah.
right.
I
I
mean,
got
we
it.
haven't even
Go
had
ahead.
this out for a year yet, so
Yeah. We've
it,
got
You're doing
lots
a
of
whole lot of
ideas.
work.
yeah,
Cool
yeah,
ideas.
yeah.
It's Derek. It's you guys did a great job. Question from Chris because he really wants you to explain a little bit, to
Yeah.
expand a little bit on the comment that you make the game into the kind of sci-fi you want. And so typically is what levers do GMs and players have in
Yep.
Dark Space to access the subgenre? So like, what are some of the toggle switches? Give like an
Yeah.
example or two.
Yeah. So archetype versus class, species versus ancestry, motivation, which we haven't touched on yet, versus alignment, triad versus traditional magic. Um, what level of technology do you have? Is it medieval only? Is it ballistic firearms? Is it futuristic weapons? Do you and then the modes of play. So, like if you look in Shadow Dark, there's a whole bunch of different modes of play, like fatality mode, pulp mode. We've got a couple in our books as well. So again, if you toggle those on and off, then you're going to get more of a vibe as well. So yeah.
But when you're switching between genres of sci-fi, what are
Yeah.
some of the toggles that you put in to switch between like a horror
Yeah.
sci-fi versus action sci-fi?
Yeah, like space horror, you're probably going to use fatality mode and probably grinder mode too, honestly. Or I think she goes at hardcore. I don't have the list in front of me.
Okay.
But then you're probably not going to have any magic at all. You'll probably just turn that switch off.
Okay.
But then one of the things that, again, I'm getting ahead of myself here, Wes, but one of the things that is a stretch goal for the Kickstarter is to add in corruption rules, which would allow for things like madness and infection and all of that goodness. So you would need to have that, bring that in.
That into horror, yeah, absolutely.
For horror as well, right? So it's that sort of thing. Like once you get, it's usually a list of like about 10 different things that you can kind of swap between.
Gotcha.
And really,
and they're kind of, those are the mode switches. Like
you
bing,
got it.
Bing, bing. Gotcha.
Yeah.
And,
So
and then there's also kind of the common sense sort of things too. For example, two settings.
Wait, hold on a second, Derek. What did you just say?
What's that?
Common what?
Common sense. I know most of us don't have that nowadays.
I don't know what that is.
It's a skill you have to pay a lot of gold for.
I've heard about this mythological thing. Sorry, I totally interrupted you. Please go ahead.
But there are two genres of science fiction. One I know which you personally love, Wes. Babylon 5 style science fiction. And then there is another genre which I really love, is the space western.
Firefly. Yes, absolutely.
So let's use Firefly as an example. You can use our rules to run both, but in Babylon 5 world, the triad or the psionic powers would be fairly more common. Whereas if you're running Firefly, while there are psionics there, they're going to be more rare. They're not going to be used as much. So you as the GM, when you're putting that game together, you have to say, okay, if you've got psychic powers in a Firefly setting, everybody's looking for you.
Right. You're in danger. Okay.
You're in danger. Whereas in a Babylon 5 setting, a lot of people can have psionic powers and there might be people looking for them, but it's going to be much more common. You might have a low psi person, a high psi person, things like that. And you would need, as a GM, to put that flavor into your story.
Gotcha.
So there are mechanical things you need to do as a GM, as Stan's pointing out, but then there are narrative things you need to do as a GM. And that's what you have to do when you begin your world building as you're starting to grow this game. And you need to make sure your players are on board with that.
Yeah,
that's awesome. It is a neat setup, and I love that you comparing Firefly and Babylon 5, because in Babylon 5 there's only one of the triads, because it would be mind, because it's telepaths.
Yeah.
But then you bring in Firefly and it goes wonky, but it's so much more rare. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I like that a lot. Neat setup. I love the structure. I can't wait to talk about how this is expanding a little bit. I do want to pick up. So there was just one little small bit of controversy when Dark Space was first released. There was a bit of AI art in there, which people were pushing back against. So just for you to put out there, this is no longer the case.
This is no longer the case and has not been the case except for the first 3 weeks that this was out. It was a prototype that was originally put out just to see if anybody was even interested in the thing. The minute that people started getting interested, I pulled it and redrew everything myself.
I was about to say, you've done the artwork, right? It's your art.
In the core rules, it is all my artwork, save for
is that your cover?
That is my cover.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So the new version, we actually have done so well. It's been so well received that we actually were able to very well pay several artists for it. So it is all going to be all new artwork. You can see some previews already out on our socials. It's amazing. There is not a stitch of AI art anywhere in this book.
just because I knew that was a bit of controversy
Yeah.
right at the
Yeah.
beginning, and I knew you had addressed it, but I wanted to make sure that people knew
Yep.
moving forward this is not there.
Yep.
And that's always a difficult thing to tackle. But the good news is people were so interested in it, they were upset that there was AR.
Yeah,
art in it.
exactly. That's all we needed. The minute that somebody said, "I would really buy this if it weren't for the AR," we pulled it. Not a problem.
And you did have a non-artwork version. Like if you don't want this,
we did. We made sure, because there are some people that's not as big of a deal for them. We did offer both, but no, we're just like, we're moving forward at this point.
There you go. Cool. So thank you for addressing that, and I'm glad that I was able to bring it up, so it's clear for everybody out there. So we have been talking that this has been, and someone just said, Steve Durham said the art that was recently released has been fire. So that's good. And Glenn, we're going to argue. So here's another question here from chat. So for folks who know Babylon 5, there are this species called the Soul Hunters. So what are the three? It's mind, body, spirit for the triad.
Soul.
Is that what it is?
Soul. But yeah.
Oh well, then soul hunters are
soul.
Soul. They steal soul.
I'm assuming so. You know what? I'm gonna put my nerd cred on the line. I've never watched Babylon 5.
So
I know.
So I will speak to a soul hunter.
But Derek's got me covered.
Watch Babylon 5.
Yeah.
A soul hunter would not have access to the triad. They would just have access to artifacts that allow you to draw the soul out.
Because
they would not be a triad user. That
you
would
don't
be
think
my
because
argument.
they do sense when death is going to happen.
Yeah.
That would be the limit. It's almost like a passive access.
Right. And maybe that is from some technological thing they have embedded in them. Because in Babylon 5, a lot of these so-called magic or psionic abilities really like those techno mages. Were those techno mages really magic users, or were they using advanced tech? Were they Arthur C. Clarking it and just using such advanced technology, that it was...
Oh, yeah. I mean, and they told you in the show that that's what they were doing, that they were
exactly
Arthur C. Clarking. Yeah.
So a soul hunter, in my view, you would be creating items to draw the spirit of someone out. And that's why the Minbari were so angry at it.
Right, because
they
they're
were
stealing
so
their
angry
souls.
About it because you were both treading into their world of spirit, which they really touched on spirit, and you're touching that, and they're angry about that. And you're using technology to draw the soul out of a person.
Well, and then they're stealing
There's my nerd cred.
They're stealing their next generation. They can't, how are you doing this? Don't steal our next generation. They were already having problems. We have gone way far into geekdom. And then, holy smokes, you must watch Babylon 5.
Everybody's got their blind spots. That's mine. I'll get there one day.
And if nothing else, it's basically a roadmap for the current state of Western civilization.
Well, right.
Which is hard. All right. Question from Chris. How well is Dark Space set up to handle sci-fi scenarios that are predominantly not in space? Speculative sci-fi, Blade Runner, Snow Crash, Gibson Sprawl series, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You do not have to have a spaceship. Getting a spaceship is a lot of fun, but you can set everything on one planet and go as low tech or low space as you want to with this. Another one of our stretch goals. Sorry, Wes. Is that we're actually going to. Earlier this year, we worked with Menagerie Press to put out a setting book called Xeno Salvage that had hacking rules in it. One of the stretch goals is to bring the Xeno Salvage hacking rules into Dark Space as part of the core rules. So we'll be able to start expanding into that cyberpunk hacking realm. Yeah. So you can definitely do more of that, low sci-fi speculative fiction for sure. Absolutely. I love that stuff. I love that stuff. So yeah, absolutely.
Cool. And Glenn is in chat, and we could be arguing over soul hunters and access to the triad for the next 10 hours. And none of us would be upset about this because that's just fun because we're nerds. So as we have been talking about, you have been running this at a number of conventions. Mm-hmm. And here is my description of Derek's marathon day on Thursday at Gamehall Con, which I will long to get back to Gamehole Con forever because it's one of the best cons I've ever been to. It was my only time that I've been at a con beginning to end that I wasn't running. But on Thursday, I got there at about just after 8 o'clock. And I'm sitting down and I'm editing my video from Wednesday night where I was, talking to people at one of the hotels. And I hear a voice. I'm going, that sounds like Derek. And I turn around and here's Derek in all of his stately glory running a dark space table in some of the overflow tables out in one of the lounges in Gamehole Con. So it's out like where the food court is. And I go, no, hey there. So I just walked over, didn't bother him, took his picture and walked away. I played a 4-hour game, had lunch, and did like 4 interviews and like walked the convention hall. And I came back at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and there was Derek in the exact same seat, running a dark space game with totally new players, which was a feat that I can't even imagine. Apparently, you told me you took a break somewhere in between there. I never saw it, so I don't believe it. So you've been playing this game at conventions fairly regularly, including at EcclesiaCon last year. So can you describe what conventions have you run this at so far?
I first ran it at Page in January.
Okay.
Then in February, I ran it at EcclesiaCon. In March, I ran Dark Space at GaryCon, ran a number of games. Stan ran it as well at GaryCon. April and May, I didn't have any conventions lined up. In June, I ran it at Origins. Than took over one of my games at Origins because I had some other obligations at Origins. I do gaming chaplaincy work at Origins. So I did that at Origins. And then I ran it at Gamehole, which you talked about. And then Than also ran it at Gamehole. And then Than ran some at this convention, Game Conjunction in Louisville this past weekend.
Just this past weekend.
We just got back from a convention this past weekend.
That was the game that Erica was in from Ragnarboard?
It was.
Yeah,
it was
from Ragnarboard.
Yeah, we finally got her at a table.
She's one of the nicest people,
isn't she? Yeah, she's also she's a good friend.
She's part of the Tennessee contingent of game designers.
Yeah,
we're making our own little game design down here in the South, my friend.
Well, she's phenomenal.
She's fantastic. She's fantastic. Go back her if you haven't backed her yet. She's got
Lost Audio
about a day left on the Kickstarter for Ragnarboard. So there's my plug for Erica. Go back Ragnarboard.
I don't think Derek can hear us.
I don't think he can either.
He can't hear us right now.
Yeah.
You got muted. You know what? I bet you it went to one of his other devices.
His AirPods or something like that. Yeah.
We're back. Derek, can you hear us?
I've lost audio.
Uh-oh. Put your AirPods in. Try it.
Hey, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
There we go.
For some reason, my audio just dropped.
Computers are haunted. We could hear you just fine.
Yeah.
It was
okay.
Probably was like, hey, we want to be sending audio to whatever devices nearby. So you played this at all these conventions, and you would even talk that some of these players are in their 30s or 20s.
Yeah.
What's been the general reaction from folks who have played it so far?
I think overall very overwhelmingly positive. Usually people come away having fun. I mean, we play a couple of different styles of games. We've got some that are high lethal. We've got some that are a little more laid back and fun. So it just depends on what people, and you kind of get that if you run games at cons fairly regularly, you start to get a vibe for what a table likes. And so you can kind of adjust that. And I think the system works very well for that. I think you can adjust with the system for your table. The game that I ran at Game Conjunction that I held a bunch of creators and staff from Conjunction on the game. We had some folks die. We had some folks do some crazy stuff. But at the end, we all had a lot of fun. So I think it's enough of a lightweight rule set that people can find their fun. I say that the rules tell you what your character does without getting in the way of what you as the player want to do.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's, are you finding, because I know with a lot of folks nowadays, I'm meeting more and more folks who need those rules to feel secure in the system. Dark
Mm-hmm.
Space, Shadowdark is very known for being,
Yeah.
is there enough in there that's keeping people to feel like they're grounded into the system?
Yeah. I
And
think
is there
once
anything
they,
you added that went for that?
well, I think that once, if they've never played Shadowdark before, which we've had several that have been like, I never was interested in Shadowdark, but I like sci-fi. I want to try this out, and so we kind of teach them Shadowdark through Dark Space. I think that once they get that comfortability, whatever that word is, with, oh, I really can do whatever I want, then that kind of frees them up and they kind of get settled in a little bit.
Okay.
Because everybody's always like, it's D&D. Well, what can I do? Well, what do you want to do? And then they say, well, I want to do this. And you're like, well, you don't really have the skill for that. You're playing a fighter, so you're dumb as a rock. With Shadowdark, you don't have that, right?
Right.
It can be like, I want to go talk to that thing. Okay, sure. Okay, let's roll a charisma.
Well, I'll give you an example of that.
Okay.
In Dan's game at Game Conjunction, I rolled up a random hacker.
Okay.
But my intelligence was an 8. And that was horrible.
You were like a savant.
However, I had a high charisma.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I asked Steve, does the spaceship have a AI?
Oh gosh.
Yep.
He rolled and said, yeah, it does. So I hacked the AI using my charisma rolls.
Yeah.
Okay. So you knew how to get along well with computers. They liked you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
So that leads into a question from Steve in the chat. What's been the craziest moment that you've seen in a Dark Space game so far? Because that would definitely be up there.
Well, so for me, the craziest moment I've seen in a Dark Space game so far, there's two. One is a shorter one. The game that I run that I ran this weekend, and I run at a lot of cons for demos, is a gauntlet, a funnel.
Okay.
Zero level characters on a ship, right?
Okay.
And they're suddenly the crew, and they have to repair the ship.
Mm-hmm.
It's very Among Us kind of a style, right? I had one instance where someone rolled up a random character. They rolled up a celebrity with high charisma. They decided they were like a YouTube influencer, and they got all of the other people that were in the cryopods who were supposed to be your backup characters out of the cryopods to create this sort of like army to follow them. And they were like, come along, everybody, you know me, let's all go this way. And she opened up the door to the next area, which had a hole in it and that was decompressed, and 20 people got sucked out.
That's beautiful.
That was pretty epic. I will say.
And a wonderful morality tale for why you should never follow celebrities. Yes, okay,
never
good.
follow influencers. Yeah,
Oh
that's.
my
I think that's the more fun one. The other one involves a carousing table, because we do have carousing tables in our home game, and it involved waking up with a pirate captain's most prized possession. While there are alarms going off, it's kind of similar to the Wizard's Tower on the carousing table in Shadowdark. But in that particular game, we had already established that the pirate captain's most beloved possession was his girlfriend. So
you
that
Captain Kirked it.
made for a very interesting next episode. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Derek, you have any really crazy stories from Dark Space so far?
One of my favorites was at Gamehole.
Okay.
One of the players was being healed up in a med bay when the corporate thugs came in for the final battle.
Okay.
And they said to me, "Hey, do I have an oxygen tank next to me?" And I'm like, "Sure, you're in med bay, you're on oxygen."
Okay.
And so they said, I grab the oxygen tank and I run outside. The bay doors of the ship had dropped down. The soldiers are behind it,
Uh-huh.
shooting at the player character. They said, I want to strap an energy cell to the oxygen tank and throw it into the ship. I said, okay, go for it. They rolled a 2. They wanted to use their luck token, but other player said no, use mine.
Okay.
That happened 4 times.
Oh dear.
On the 4th time, they rolled a nat 20.
Boom.
Boom.
Yeah.
But because it was a nat 20, I had the ship fall on the corporate goons. And and we only had 10 minutes left in the game. Perfect ending. But it was crazy watching all the other players throw in their luck tokens. They had
Yeah,
held on to them like they were gold pieces.
we want to see this work. Let's keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it did. But it
And
took 4 tries.
and
And
it's
they
a
were
con game. You're like,
out of
you can
luck
use all the
tokens
luck. Go
on the
ahead.
4th try.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. I want to talk about the Kickstarter. I do have a point here from Chris, who is on my Discord. I'm going to be away next year, but have to make a pitch for these guys about Crit, the community-run Infinite Tabletop. It runs next June 28th and 20 to 28th. Online gaming convention. It is absolutely free, and they want you to run games for them.
Hey,
So
if we're
come on
around,
to
we'll have to see. Yeah.
yeah.
June's a
June is
crazy month.
June's
Yeah,
a
because
crazy
your
month.
Origins, right?
Origins, yeah. So
Yeah.
we'll have to look at timing and schedule. But if we're around, sure.
Yeah, I'll put you on my Discord if you guys are on Discord and you can
Yeah.
meet Chris and you guys
Yeah.
can set that up. All right, let's talk about your Kickstarter right now because
Yeah.
that's coming up. And Midgard Press is here late,
Yep. There he
tagged
is.
in from Glenn. So
Woohoo.
good to see you, Midgard Press. So you're watching this campaign. When does the campaign launch? And also, folks, go to the link over there on the screen and follow it. Because this is going to be really, really special. So when does the campaign launch?
Yeah, next Tuesday, November 11/11. My wife, the history goddess, reminded me that is Armistice Day, so I think that's appropriate for a sci-fi RPG.
Laughing myself to coughing. That's great. No, perfect. All right.
Yeah.
So this is kind of cool because here's again the current book.
Yep.
And svelte would be probably the best adjective for this setting because there is a lot in a few pages that makes you a really, really cool stuff to create there. So we've hit on it a little bit, but what are some of the ways that this little svelte book is being expanded for the new edition?
Yep. So the new edition is going to be a 200-page, 200 plus, depending on how stretch goals go, edition. It will be hardback, and it will expand on a lot of the areas. Pretty much every area of this book gets a little something extra. We add in we revise all of the archetypes just a little bit from playtesting, things that we've learned from over the past year. And then we actually are taking our multifunction android that's in the core rules right now, and we're actually turning it into a machine-based archetype. So it will allow you to not only play your android still, but now you can play a power armor spacer as well.
Oh,
So
cool.
you can
Okay.
play a Samus Aran, an Iron Man, a Space Marine, because that's its own archetype, right? The guy in the armor, right? So that's one way. They work very similar, but one is a robot and one's got a person on the inside of it. So we just kind of split that into its own thing.
Gotcha.
But the biggest component to this is going to be the game master section. This does not really have a game master section right now, and it is going to have not only the things we've already talked about how to create your own sci-fi subgenre settings. It's also going to have more of those random generation tables that Shadowdark fans love. You're going to have things like generating, solar systems and planets and site locations, all of those great things. But then we've also got a section about how to run sci-fi. And
Okay.
Derek's done a lot of the work on that. We did a lot of talking about what were our core ethos statements with this.
Yeah.
That was something that I fell in love with Shadowdark, was that Kelsey took the time to put in there, hey, this is the ethos of Shadowdark. Like,
Okay.
and if it doesn't quite fit in here, okay, maybe you need to look at how you're running your game a little bit. And so
Okay.
we want to build on that. We still adhere to the Shadowdark core ethos, but we've got a few of our own, and one of them is simple yet elegant, and one of them is bring your own sci-fi. So that just kind of gets back to a lot of what we've already talked about. But then Derek has talked about what is sci-fi and what does it mean to have a sci-fi story, and what can you do with science fiction that you can't do with fantasy. And so we bring a little bit of that element into it as well to help GMs flesh out their world as well. But then we've got monsters and aliens, and we've got ship building rules. That was one thing that was missing that a lot of people wanted to see. Was we gave you just enough to get started with spaceships, but not enough to like make your own spaceships. That's going to be in there as well.
Space combat rules.
Space combat rules were in the core rules, but they will also be in this for sure as well.
Neat.
Yeah.
Gonna be fun.
Yeah.
This has been sitting on my shelf and I have literally not read it. Like all I know is like what I watched Derek run it. Like that's what I know about Dark Space.
Yeah. Space combat is in there and works just like Shadowdark combat does as well. A lot of people have asked us, like, do you get real like crunchy on your space combat? Are we going to be doing like trigonometry to try to figure out whether or not we hit? No. It's close, near, far, just like Shadowdark combat is close, near, far.
Gotcha.
We keep it super simple. Yeah.
Really cool. So how is this new edition going to be printed? Are you going to do an offset print or is it going to be POD?
It will be offset. Yeah. So we are finalizing our exact SKUs for the different types. So we definitely have two that we're going to be doing for sure. We're going to have our regular standard edition. You can see this if you go to the Kickstarter page. You can see the mock-ups for these. There's going to be the standard edition. It's going to be our traditional white cover with the logo, the artwork on it, and then we're going to have a deluxe black edition that just has our little white logo on it. Look very, very pristine, very nice looking. Derek, do we want to drop the secret about that one on Wes's show?
Yeah, drop, baby,
Scoop.
Drop it.
And there's some folks here that know us that are in the chat. They haven't heard this yet. That white logo, it's going to be glow in the dark.
Yeah.
Why you do this to me?
We want your money.
Why you do this to me? Now, listen, I have been putting off not buying stuff because I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
So, like, it didn't shut up and take my money moment.
And remember, Wes, my proceeds go to support my work as a gaming chaplain.
Me?
You're damn right I will. Preachers are known for their guilting. Come on.
But when that option was presented to us, the two of us,
we looked at each other. It was like,
yes.
I was going to pick up my phone and text him, but I saw the look on his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, I almost never go for the special covers because I often like the regular colors better.
Right.
But the black with the logo, yes, glow in the dark. Why you do this to me? That's not
How can
nice.
you can't get much more dark space than glow in the dark sci-fi, right?
No, I just
Yeah.
think that's great.
Yeah.
We do have a joke comment. Well, a callback comment.
Are we going to
gonna
die in
in
character
character
creation?
creation?
Okay, there's a funny story behind that.
Oh
Can I
no.
tell them about one of our possible stretch goals, man?
Oh, let's
That
not
is a
drop
late
that one yet.
that is a
Let's
later
not drop
question.
that one yet. They need
Okay,
to.
you
No, they
cannot
need.
die in
Yeah,
character creation,
yeah.
but Mark Miller is a close personal friend of mine. And at Gamehole, I gave him a copy of Dark Space, and he
Uh-huh.
asked for Than and I to sign it.
Well, that's nice.
Yep. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
It was my first time meeting Mark. Just a great guy, and he was very supportive of it.
Yeah.
And we've had several instances where uh, people that I would call legendary creators have gotten a hold of our book and really been very supportive, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's not necessary, and it's fantastic.
It's a very
So
Yeah.
tight. It's a small and tight community when you start
it
getting
really
into
is once you get
development.
into it. It
Yeah.
really is. Yeah.
All right.
So
Yeah.
Too quick. These are my two most important questions of the entire interview. Will you be printing the book on non-glossy paper?
ooh. No, I believe it's semi-gloss. It'll have a little bit of sheen to it.
Okay.
You want
Strike one.
you want just like flat, matte, boring copy paper? Like
Shadowdark, flat paper, just beautiful for the black ink. Doesn't give me a headache from the glare. Flat paper always. I am the Flat Paper Society. I'm the founder of it. Second question: you have one strike. Will the book have a book ribbon?
Yes.
Okay, so you're saved on that bet. I'll give you.
Yes. Yes.
You drew it back from the cliff of oblivion. I would have ended the conversation right then. You talked about how some of the legendary creators have seen this book and gone in, and that's really really cool for folks like that. But then you have this wide Shadowdark community, which has got its own development community right
Yeah.
now that have put
Yeah.
out really successful Kickstarters.
Yeah.
How have they been a resource for you? Have you kind of prepared to go for it? Have they helped you at all?
Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple of them in the chat tonight that are actually helping us out.
That's awesome.
Midgard Press and Crawl Club are both here. They are actually both launching Kickstarters alongside ours for Dark Space creations. We have a third party license that is in line with the Shadowdark license, and they are both launching adventures to coincide with our Kickstarter as well. So go support them as well. They're going to be fantastic.
I think I need to get links sent to me for that.
We will do that.
Awesome. Yes, please.
Yeah. And we've got our Creator Jam also. Talking about the third party license, we have a Creator Jam that is launching the same day that our Kickstarter does. Anybody can enter it. It's over on itch.io. There's links on our Kickstarter page for all that, but you can go sign up for that. Create something for us. Create an alien or an android or a piece of equipment, something like that. The best ones, the top 3, are all going to end up in Dark Space itself. So you get to actually add something to the book.
Yeah, that's awesome. So thank you.
And if you go to our Kickstarter, we have quick start rules for the first time that are free to download.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Go get, if you have not gotten them yet, folks, go get them. If you're watching this later, go get them. Because this is like I said, I have not delved into it. I have watched it played. And this is one of the games that for folks that were at EcclesiaCon, this is one of the games they talk about. Like, this is a game where I played this character, right? Yes. Like, oh, I want to go get that. They're big fans. So really, really cool. We've been talking about how Dark Space has been play tested all over the place. you're expanding the book to 200 plus pages.
Mm-hmm.
So how much of the work of writing this 200-page book still needs to be done as the Kickstarter gets launching, or is it still keep being funneled out of your head?
It's definitely there's a little bit that still be funneling out of our heads. We're at about 90% done. Uh,
Okay.
we're really down to the last little bit here or there that we're trying to squeeze in, and we're trying to leave some room again for these stretch goals that we're kind of dancing around a little bit, but they might add some content, so we want to leave a little bit of space for it.
That's the
Cool.
big one is the hacking rules.
Okay.
We really want to hit that one.
Yeah,
That is the thing that vexes so many people when you put
Yeah.
computers into a TTRPG.
Yeah, hacking and corruption, I think, are the two big rule sets that will be added. But we've got several other really cool pieces of content that are also lined up. A lot of our stretch goals, just to guys give folks a little preview, just because of the way things are with shipping and production and everything right now, we didn't want to do a lot of physical stretch goals with this. We didn't want people to be waiting on dice or things like that. So we're gonna hold off on that kind of stuff for now. We're doing a lot of content based stretch goals instead, and there's gonna be some really cool ones. So
awesome.
Keep an eye out for them and help us hit those, because they're gonna be
not a lot of stuff, but much more content. Which
much more
content better anyway.
And some of them will be legendary.
Yeah, some of them are gonna be huge. So
I see what you did there. So. Speaking of all the problems with shipping and stuff, where are you getting these books printed?
Here in the U.S.
So you're actually managing them here in the U.S., which also goes in. You can't get meeples and dice and everything because no one makes them here now.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
So there's tariff stupidity.
Yeah, there'll be a time for all that, hopefully at some point. But for now, we're just going to keep it simple.
Awesome.
Hopefully that doesn't, hopefully people see that. People see that we're willing to invest more in the content and less in all the flashy, tchotchkes.
Gotcha. Hey, listen, and people love the tchotchkes, but people love content too. So I hope that's good.
Yeah.
When the campaign gets started, what is your funding goal set at? Are you able to announce that right now?
Yeah, I think we can. 15,000.
Really modest.
Very modest.
Okay.
We're aware that we are a niche within a niche within a niche. We know that we've got big stretch goals planned. We would like to hit all of them, but we understand. We're a sci-fi hack of Shadowdark, which is a niche book itself within a niche hobby. Can
you really call Shadowdark a niche book at this point?
It still is. You wouldn't believe at Game Conjunction this weekend, out of every 10 people we talked to, only one of them knew what Shadowdark was.
That just
isn't that hard to believe?
Like $2 million Kickstarters.
I know.
And you still don't know what
I know.
I mean,
and when
compared to D&D 5e, which is we made $35 million this week. But
but when we told people, we're like, well, this is what Shadowdark is, and we talked about how the first Kickstarter broke $1 million and the second Kickstarter broke $2 million. They were like, what? Why have I never heard of this? So,
well,
everybody has their echo chambers.
Yeah. Yes. So campaign starts on the 11th.
On the 11th.
So next Tuesday, everybody jump in. I'll be a day one backer.
Fantastic.
When does it end?
December 9th. We go 30 days.
So you're going into the holiday shopping season. So get on it quick before everybody sucks your money away from you. And so you have your contest. You are concentrating mostly on content instead of doing other rewards, which is really kind of cool. You've already announced one stretch goal. Are there any other stretch that you feel comfortable to announce right now?
I think what we can say is, because I don't want to tip all of the hand, right? But I think we can say that we will be having a lot of our stretch goals will be having other creators that we know, work with, or respect highly create content for the book. And they are all signed on and are submitting some amazing things. And I think that's going to be really cool.
So
I think
my friend,
go ahead.
Well, my friend Dave and I are releasing my sci-fi horror adventure, The Ocean Incident, for his his system, and also for ICRPG, and I might actually him about doing it for Dark Space as well. So
A lot
we'll
of
be
that
launching
converts
that in
over.
February.
Yeah, a lot of that converts over very well.
Really, really easily.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep,
Uh,
should be
we
good.
have
All right,
someone
go
who,
ahead.
which group is releasing for Two Sister?
Midgar
Death in
Press
Space.
is
Yeah,
Midgar
Midgard.
Press
Midgard is
is releasing for Death in Space and Dark Space.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk to him about it. We were going to do Mothership, but their license apparently is onerous to
We
release
have
through the
had
Mothership
somebody
license.
that has released for both Mothership and Dark Space.
Yeah,
It was called
we
the
didn't
Signal.
want to deal with the hoops.
Yeah, there
Yeah,
are some hoops. Yeah,
The
so but
Signal.
a Shadowdark style license would really fit with where we're at, because we don't have time to get things approved by people. So you've already sent. So when are you hoping to get these shipped out to backers? Like, what is your projected
yeah.
timeline?
First quarter of 2026, just depending on again how the world is. I mean, we're printing here in the States, so that should make it fairly easy. But at the same
So that
time,
accelerates. Okay.
you still have to get paper from somewhere, right? So it's
Right. Okay.
let's just see how the world
Gotcha.
goes.
But
But
first
but
quarter,
first
first
quarter,
quarter of 2026 is your. So
that's
you
our
are
target.
mostly done. When you say you're
Yeah.
90%
Yeah.
90% done, you're not joking about it. Are you
I'm
doing
not.
all the artwork for the extended edition?
No,
You have
no,
other
no,
people doing
no.
artwork?
We paid very well for
Okay.
several artists. David Venegas is going to be doing all of our character artwork. We
Your
have
art is good.
well,
Your
thank
art.
you. I
You do
appreciate it.
good art.
I appreciate it.
So
But we wanted to take it up just a little bit further. But David Venegas is doing our character
gotcha.
artwork and our chapter splash
Okay.
pages. Rob Turpin will be doing all of our spaceship designs. We just released the first one of those today on socials. Go check it out. It's awesome. So we've got
I
some
will go check it out.
really cool artists coming in.
Are you keeping with the black and white line art theme for all the artwork, or are you going
Yes.
with some color?
No, black and white, grayscale line art. Has like David's style. He and I have talked about this quite a bit. He is very much influenced
Okay.
by like 1970s DC. So Jack Kirby, Neil Adams.
Oh,
So New Gods. Yeah, it's good stuff.
It's gorgeous, man.
will
It's
will
gorgeous.
there be Kirby dots? Please tell me there's Kirby dots.
There's Kirby
There's
Crackle
Kirby
all over the
elves.
place. Yep.
Now I'm excited, and I am a nerd. This is great. So first quarter 2026. So back it, because you're going to be getting it soon. Hopefully we'll get it really, really fast. My last question for you is this, because I know right now the wonderful folks, and I mean that sincerely, the wonderful folks at Wet Ink Games have been helping you, because they've been selling the Dark Space book at conventions, which
Yep.
I personally saw.
Yep.
Are they going to be helping distribute this new edition too?
We will have an
Are you
announcement
talking
about that
at
soon.
all? Oh, I'm on to something. Cool. And for folks who do not know who Wet Ink Games are, go check out their stuff. They do Hecking Good Doggos, they do Psychic Kids, they do Never Going Home. And the company itself is just wonderful. The guys who run it are fantastic. So
Yeah.
they're
Amazing
awesome.
people.
So hopefully that will be a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Had them on a channel. Love talking to them at any convention I see them at.
Yeah.
A really
Great
good
guys.
time.
Great guys. Yeah. Yeah. We've got
Listen,
lots of
have
good
had a
stuff coming down the
blast.
pike. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I am excited, and when we're off chatting, you can talk off the record. You're going to tell me about what's going on, but off the record, I'm impressed. I can talk about it. So listen, I've had a great time. We're at about an hour and a half, which is phenomenal. I cannot, like, I was already excited for this. I am ecstatic about this, and now I want to glow in the dark book. So thank you so much for that, you jerks. So really looking forward to it. For folks who have not gone to that link there, I got it right. Go to that QR code, sign up to be notified when it launches next Tuesday. Back it on day one. get them the push they need to get over their very modest goal and hopefully into their stretch goals. Is there anything you want to say to folks who are watching right now to help encourage them to go back this wonderful campaign?
I think from myself, I honestly just want to thank the community. I cannot say enough good things about the Shadowdark community, the dark space community that's built up around us. They've helped us get to where we are, and just would love to see that build more and more.
I would
Yep.
simply say that if you love rock and roll sci-fi, this is the game for you. If you love space western, this is the game for you. And if you want to mix sci-fi with your fantasies, this is the game for you.
Awesome. It is a game for anybody who wants to play this. Chris, thanks for watching. Thank you everyone for watching. Derek, you now have the Flash Gordon soundtrack by Queen stuck in my head. So thank you so much for that. That's going to be there for the next 6 months.
Flash
And
Gordon.
no, you keep doing. We're gonna get
We're gonna get
demonetized.
demonetized. Stop that.
Stop that. So, but thank you so much. Next Tuesday, go back at this is going to be phenomenal. Folks, I'm going to go to me as a solo. Please stay on the line so I can thank you properly when the stream actually ends. I have had a wonderful time chatting with both of you. Derek, I've known you're an awesome guy. Dan, I'm really enjoying getting to know you too. But I will talk with you in a minute. Let me go back to my channel really quick, your camera really quick, and I'll talk to you in just a sec. All right, folks, that was an absolute blast. I am really, really excited that Derek could come on. We were hoping to get in before the campaign started, and this really fit in, slotted in well. Couple of streams that are coming up on I think on Sunday night at 8:30. I really have to check my schedule to make sure it's going to be okay. I'm going to be talking about a new Savage Worlds book that's coming out. Unofficial third party, but it's essentially taking kind of Scooby-Doo themes and putting that in Savage World, which sounds really, really cool. I'm hoping to finalize that later on this week and getting that officially set up. You'll see it on my channel for the calendar. And then next Tuesday, the same day that this launches, I'm going to be talking with the author of Designers and Dragons, which is I think it's being re-released, a 4-volume history of Dungeons and Dragons, which is being kickstarted, and that campaign is going to be going on. So really looking forward to doing that as well. That is next Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Hallmark is currently on hiatus because there's no way that the schedule's being set up and the holidays coming. We're going to pick up that in January for the second of the Hallmark Adventures, which is The Things We Do. Looking forward to all of that. My Star Trek Adventures book read through is about 2/3 of the way done. I have 2 more Gamehole Con videos that I want to release that are, one needs to be edited, the other one just needs to be published, and that'll bring me to the end of my Gamehole Con footage. And then PAX Unplugged is coming, so I'm going to be really busy this month, and I'm back to my regular work, so I'm not sure how I'm going to fit all of this in, but I'm looking forward to bringing it all to you. And until we see each other again, folks, thanks for being part of the journey, and happy playing, everyone.